Having your wedding in church is one of the most traditional ways of getting married. To find out more about church weddings, I visited Anthony Buckley from St John's Church in Folkestone.
Hello there, Anthony.
Hello.
Nice to meet you. Thank you for welcoming me here to your church, St John's, today. Tell me exactly what happens at a church wedding.
There are two big things going on in a church wedding. It's an opportunity for the couple to be married in the presence of family and friends. It's also the opportunity for them to be married in the presence of God. And the service picks up both of those themes.
I see.
So as the bride walks in, then there's lots of people there and smiling and cheering them on and so on. Mm-hmm. But as the service goes on, there's also a sense of God being with us and God blessing us.
Yes.
It's taken very much from the idea that Jesus was present at a wedding and that he was part of the party and really supporting the couple involved.
I see. So a long tradition going right back to
a long tradition. Yeah, marriage has been very important in the Christian faith. And the Christian faith really wants to honour and support all those who are getting married.
Excellent. Tell me what sorts of questions a bride and groom should be considering if a church wedding is the wedding they are opting for.
One thing I'd suggest is that they make contact fairly early with the minister or vicar of the church.
Right.
And they first of all ask if they're able to be married there. Different churches have different regulations as to who can be married there.
I see.
So it's just worth asking that basic question. And then after that, there are a range of questions it's good to sort out in good time. One of them is if either partner has been married before. Different churches have different views on that. Here at St John's, we are very happy to marry again. Other churches may treat that differently. Again, it's good to ask the question in good time.
I see.
Practicalities for the service. The bride and groom may want to know about confetti, whether it's allowed or not, videoing, photography, whether there'll be an organ, whether there are bells, what happens with the flowers. Again, the minister and the vicar will be well experienced in dealing with all that, and there's no such thing as a silly question. So as I often say, if one of the couple wakes up in the middle of the night thinking, oh no, what about that? Mm-hmm. Then they can phone at any point.
Excellent. Yeah. But the sheer variety of regulations from church to church would make, as you say, quite careful questioning early on very important.
Yes, and almost always the questions can be easily answered. But because we have a wide variety of churches in this country, which is great, it's just worth asking early enough.
Yes,
to make sure.
Good point. Can the church provide things like flowers and an organist and a choir?
Yes, nearly all churches would be able to do that, or they'd be able to point the way to it. So, for example, if a church's organist was on a holiday, then the vicar would know who else to ask.
I see.
But also there'd be flexibility, so if the couple knew of someone they wanted to play, then churches would be welcoming to that.
Oh, good. Yeah. Excellent.
We at St John's, as well as an organist, we have a band as well, and so some couples might choose to have the band, not an organist.
Tremendous.
And that's fine.
And in the event of bad weather, which of course is legion in this country, would the church normally be available for interior photography or stills photography, video photography?
Certainly most churches would be very happy with that. The only thing that can be a difficulty afterwards is if there's another service coming up. And so just questions about timing. Once again, it's good to ask that early on to check that there's gap between the two services.
Yes, I take your point.
In terms of videoing a service, again, most churches would be very happy. There can be copyright issues on music, which is played while being videoed. But once again, the vicar would know about that.
Forming a relationship with the couple beforehand, I would imagine, is quite an important element when considering a church wedding.
Certainly so. I like the idea that when the couple are getting married, the person who's marrying them in the church, they feel that they know him or her a bit, and that I know them, and that I am on their side. And so we would meet. Well, it depends how much the couple wants, because nothing is pressured or forced. But we would meet 3 or 4 times, and they would find out a little bit about me. I would find out a little bit about them, hear their stories. We would talk through the marriage service so that the man and the woman know what they are going to be saying to each other, and perhaps what those promises are going to mean for each other over the years. Again, nothing too heavy, but an opportunity for the couple to explore what it's all going to be about. We would then have a rehearsal, perhaps the week before or the night before, actually in the church building, and we would just walk through the whole thing, so again the couple would feel comfortable about being here. At the rehearsal, it's normally good if the best man can be there, and if the bride is going to be given away by someone, often her father, but often a friend or a brother, then good if they're there as well. Quite often other members of the family tag along for the rehearsal, and that's good too, and bridesmaids perhaps, and we just walk it through and talk it through. It's ever so important for me that the day itself is as happy as it can be for the couple. And I see that as one of the roles of the church honouring them, is that we do all we can to make them comfortable and enjoyable. And as I say to them each time, there's nothing for them to get nervous about on the day. The only person who can do anything wrong is me. So I might be nervous, but they are there to enjoy it.
Splendid. Anthony, how far in advance is it advisable to contact you when booking a church wedding?
I always suggest that as soon as the couple think they might be getting married, it does no harm just to make the phone call, partly to see when the church is free, because there are quite a lot of weddings in churches, and obviously we want to avoid a clash and give each couple enough time for them. Secondly, there's also a legal side, certainly in the Church of England, where something called bans have to be read, and there has to be several weeks' opportunity for them to be read publicly.
Tell me a bit about the bans.
When you get married, quite a lot of the legal questions are to do with identity, and so when the couple are getting married, they would fill in a form saying who they are, where they live, and so on. And the vicar would give them that form. The vicar then reads it out 3 times, announcing that this couple plan to get married, and that is the public declaration. That needs to be done within 3 months of the wedding and on 3 Sundays. So obviously it's good if the couple have seen the vicar in good time for all that to be arranged.
I see, yes.
And there are different qualifications about being married in churches, and one is a residential, where you live, and another one is whether you're part of a church, and another one is whether you'd like to as well.
Would I be right in thinking that the length of time you need to contact a minister before a wedding might vary depending on which time of year you're planning to get married? I would imagine the summer, for example, is generally a lot busier for church weddings than the winter months.
It is. Summer is popular, and, well, Christmas is quite popular now as well. So we have some lovely services surrounded by Christmas decorations.
Oh, excellent.
But yes, summer and Christmas, it's worth asking the question soon.
Good. Okay.
And weddings don't have to be on Saturdays. So sometimes we've married people on Sundays or on weekdays. And again, it's whatever is right for the couple and their friends and family.
Okay, a good point. Thank you. Well, Anthony, it's been a pleasure meeting you and visiting your church. Thank you very much for your time today.
Not at all. Thank you for your time.
Much
Nice to meet you too.
When booking a church wedding, it's important to contact the vicar or minister as early as possible. Establish what the policy is at the church of your choice concerning photography, music, confetti, videos. Check that you fulfill the requirements of being married at that place of worship. Ask whether there are any other services taking place on the day.